This is Roger Stone, barf, barf, and Stankfield, the man who styled his hair, I'm convinced, after Christopher Lloyd in Who Framed Roger Rabbit, and and then John Durham, who always looks like somebody just went, "Excuse me, sir, you accidentally shaved off the sides of your beard." Huh? Yeah, this is why didn't John Durham actually try and prosecute anyone? And again, he did. He failed. It's all over for you. All right.
As someone who is half Sicilian, I'm familiar with an old Italian saying.
Yes, but I'm only half familiar with it. The fuck does that have to do with anything? I'm not. Hey, asshole. 暴剪风种茉莉去美化生的苦寒来. I'm not Chinese at all, but I'm very familiar with that Chinese phrase. It means the sword gets its sharpness from adversity, and the chrysanthemum gets its sweet smell from the bitter winter. Yeah. Somebody who's it reminds me of that Scott Thompson line in Kids in the Hall when he's playing the dad of Bruce McCullough's band, Armada, featuring Leonard Vanderchuck, whatever shit. I'm blitzing on the name. Where he goes, kids, being an electrician and speaking a little conversational French, I think it's fair to say that I know a thing or two about the music business.
A fish rots from its head.
Yes, it's an old Sicilian phrase. I mean, and you can only tell. Obviously, Stank is upset that he thinks that came from someplace else.
I only want to say, this is a phrase many people know. A fish stinks from its head, which is why I always eat a fish ass first. That's what you do.
Barack Obama, Vice President Joe Biden, Attorney General Loretta Lynch, FBI Director James Comey, CIA Director John Brennan, and others, they all knew that there was no probable cause. There was no...
Okay, first of all, I can't tell if that's a portrait gallery or shooting gallery. Why are you getting this side view of him where you're like really... What are you having bets about how big his nunt is? Secondly, if fish stinks from the head applies to the 2 administrations ago, then how come it doesn't apply to fucking Jeff Sessions and Bill Barr and John Bolton and Rex Tillerson and like all the people that Trump shits on? No, he's not a fish. He's an octopus. Okay, cool.
No evidence of
that explains his gropiness.
Russian collusion. Yet they still used it as a predicate to open the counterintelligence investigation Crossfire Hurricane. They still used it to rationalize the appointment of Robert Mueller. They still used it.
Well, no, the dossier was not the primary reason for the launch of it, even according to Durham. It was Papadopoulos' statement. Some of the stuff from the once they started that investigation, the preliminary investigation, they started looking at everything, which would include meeting with Christopher Steele, who had unsuccessfully tried to get people to take it seriously at the FBI. And the McCain campaign, actually, John McCain himself was trying to get the FBI to look at the dossier previous to, and they were like, no, we don't need to get into that kind of shit. That's Oppo research. And, none of that is, verifiable evidence of stuff. It's kind of like the 1038 that they keep talking about in terms of the Biden bribe stuff. It's a similar kind of level where they're like, nah, we don't need you bringing that shit into us. Obviously, when Trump was in office, that bar lowered quite a bit. But when they kind of stiff-armed it until Papadopoulos blabbed like an asshole to that Australian diplomat, and then he said, what? Ah, fuck. All right, now we got to look into this. And then once they start looking into it, they look into everything. So, of course, they're going to have a meeting about the dossier. Of course, they're going to meet with Christopher Steele. Of course, they're going to look into some elements of it or all the elements that are available to it. And then in that looking into it, they're going to cite, they're not going to go, we're taking this as face value and looking into this stuff. They're going, all right, this guy said this thing. He's part of the campaign. He's one of their foreign advisors. He said this out loud. We trust our Australian diplomatic counterpart, so we're going to look into this shit. And in looking into this, when we see this, whatever, does any of this ring true? So they start contacting anybody who might even be tangentially aware of these kind of accusations or tied to this. And that's where that started. The only difference is Durham thinks they should have started a preliminary instead of a full investigation, which is a matter of like 12 hours in the case of the level of criminality they're talking about.
To justify illegal FISA warrants against Donald Trump and his campaign. They lied about it repeatedly.
No, they didn't. No, they didn't. One of the areas where they were found to be lying, one of the guys that lied to help Trump, not to hurt him.
And with all due respect to Mr. Durham, what did he know a few weeks ago when he released his report?
And when did he know it? A few weeks ago.
That he didn't know before last November's election. They charged Donald Trump in a totally fugazi indictment regarding President.
Fugazi, I think, is the pronunciation, but maybe that's the half Sicilian, pronunciation. I don't know. I don't have the best words like some people or whatever.
Again, the words are conditions.
Right. Documents only 2 weeks ago. They want to bring that to trial just weeks from now in August. What took Mr. Durham 5 years to get to the bottom line?
4. I don't know. Unless we're talking, is this video from the future?
Could it have anything to do with the statute of limitations running out?
Statute? I don't know. Is there a statute of limitations? Maybe there is someplace. There has to be, right? What is it? It must be Donald Trump. I mean, if you're going to have a statute of limitations, he's your guy. Maybe that's what he's doing. He's gotten a bunch of pictures of Donald Trump because he's commissioned a statue of limitations. It's statute. I don't know that again.
When they gaze upon Yosemite.
Maybe it's contagious. Maybe Roger just hung around with Trump too long.
So that Mr. Durham could not actually prosecute Hillary Clinton, prosecute Barack Obama, prosecute Joe Biden, prosecute James Comey, prosecute John Brennan, prosecute Jake Sullivan, and the rest of the criminals involved in this entire shenanigan?
Yeah, that's why. Durham dragged his report out and kept looking, not because he wasn't finding anything, and he was tasked to do it because he's a Trump suck, but because he was just waiting for the perfect day. Thank you, Rod Torfelson's Armada, featuring Adrian Vanderchuk. What's his name? Sorry, I'm thinking Adrian Vanderberg. Herman Menderchuk. Thank you so much. Shit. Okay. Hold on, I guess. Yeah.
I hate to say it, but I agree with Matt Gaetz. John Durham's real objective was to stall, and he did that, sadly, extraordinarily effectively.
So you're saying Donald Trump is a shit judge of character again? That he puts his faith in the worst people. He doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about, and he I guess he puts all of his eggs in the basket with the biggest hole in the bottom.
You know, if that's the case, Roger Stone,
then Trump might be a complete asshole. Huh.
We had the chief investigator trying to uncover all the fraudulent activity, and I believe criminal activity, waged against President Trump and his allies like yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. Every innocent man has a tattoo of Richard Nixon right in his squirt zone.
Then he's just as much part of the deep state if he let these people skate on this.
Yeah, clearly. I mean, if I'm trying, I mean, that's the deep. I mean, you want to tell me what the deep state looks like? That's it. That's the. You want to talk about like self-aggrandizing macho bureaucrats who are gatekeepers for the rest of us just trying to get on with our fucking lives? If that's what the deep state is, fucking poster boy.
By simply running out the clock. To me, I don't know how you can say maybe that's not the case, because he didn't even subpoena Strzok, the Lovebirds page, Comey.
So, according to him, that was outside the scope of his investigation.
McCabe, he could have demanded that they testify in front.
About what? That they hated Trump for being a scumbag, and they as citizens were grossed out by the fucker, and they were aware after seeing evidence that he was engaging with footsie with the Russians to try and help himself get elected, and they knew it, they didn't like it.
Front of him or be interviewed by him, and he didn't do that.
Yeah, he's clearly, I mean, look at the guy. How do you trust a guy like that? I mean, anybody with with any brains at all would have spotted it the second he fucking walked into the office looking like that. You know, wait a minute. Trump just might be an asshole.
Well, it's even worse than that,
Oh, it's worse.
Grant, because one of the cornerstones of the Russian collusion hoax is the false claim that the Democratic National Committee was the target of an online hack by Russian intelligence, and that the fruits of that hack somehow made its way to the Trump campaign. It's a lie. It's a...
Which part? The part that it got to the Trump campaign? Because he was bragging about getting it.
Damnable lie. Robert Mueller has no proof of that. Either does John Brennan. In my case, they were able.
They have no proof of it. So you're not disproving it. You're not. I mean, I guess it would be hard because obviously Trump ate the evidence and shat it out.
To judge shop by falsely claiming that misstatements I made to the House Intelligence Committee.
Oh, misstatements. I'm sorry. Here she is, misstatements. She's so beautiful with her Nixon tattoo.
Which covered up no illegal action.
Well, then what? Who covers up legal action? The fuck are you talking about? I'm sorry. This is just getting dumber.
Were related to a case in which has never gone to discovery. The FBI admitted in my trial that they never inspected the computer servers of the DNC.
Why would they? They don't have to. They got a forensic copy of them. What do you think? Somebody got in there with a fucking screwdriver, dummy?
But we now know that the head of CrowdStrike's, the company that did inspect the servers, testified under oath to the House Intelligence Committee that his report included no proof whatsoever that the Russians had hacked the DNC. So Mr. Durham, while he may have debunked the Steele dossier.
Also, first of all, no. Apartment 21 and Fuzzy Bear were definitely linked to it in the Mueller report. And this seems more about you defending Russia than Trump. That's the weird part. I guess tangentially the idea that if Russia did the actual hack, and the part he's saying is, we didn't cover up anything illegal. We got those materials legally, meaning, I guess you're supposed to believe that Seth Rich was sneaking them to Roger Stone in the middle of the night when he was killed. Is that where we're going now? Shit.
He never touched the question of the non-existent hack of the Democratic National Committee.
Yeah, it was outside the scope of his investigation. Wasn't. Again, why? They seem to be going after a lot of non-primary stuff because his entire investigation was whether the FBI had a predicate for opening a full investigation or a partial investigation into the Trump campaign regarding their connections to Russia based on the evidence that they had. His final conclusion in the Durham report is they should have opened a preliminary investigation. My question is like, how long does the preliminary investigation go on a case that important? Like, can you open a preliminary investigation, make 6 phone calls and go, holy fuck, and then call your upper office, they go, yeah, this is some deep shit, and then they go right to, all right, it's a full investigation, let's give it a name and classification and a number, and off we go. And the preliminary investigation was less formal, so they just didn't chart it, and it's just a matter of, like, I guess, judgment or opinion.
Really glad to hear that these FBI agents apologized, but let me be clear.
All right, they didn't apologize. That bullshit, I don't know if you guys saw the Durham stuff, but Durham made the case that a bunch of FBI agents came up to him and apologized for mistreating the Trump campaign, which is just like a fucking Trump sir story. Garbage.
I can't eat their apologies. I can't use it to fill my gas tank. I can't use it to pay for my wife's uninsured medical expenses as she fights cancer.
Why is she uninsured? Also, here's let's have a moment, shall we? Because I think there's something that has to be, we'll bring this up, during this. Hello, bullshit. Why are you bullshitting? Why is Roger Stone, when he's acutely, allegedly aware in this circumstance of the dangers of getting a cancer diagnosis and not having insurance, backing people who don't even want a fucking public option available to him. Because I guarantee this motherfucker could afford the programs under the ACA. So he's either not doing it out of spite and letting his wife pay the price, or he's just, I mean, I think that's the only reason I can come up with.
I can't use it to pay my rent. These people tried to destroy me when I did absolutely nothing wrong other than refusing to testify falsely against President Donald Trump. And they sought to destroy me for that.
Also, how would that destroy Roger fucking Stone? What does Roger Stone do, and who does he do it for, that would give a rat's ass about him being questioned by the FBI about this shit? Was he this close to nailing the fucking Kasich-Romney ticket next time it came up? He's fucking neck deep in Trump world. That makes him a hero in those quarters. Trump runs a snitches get stitches mafioso bullshit kind of an organization anyways. How is he not, I don't understand why he's not being rewarded across the, isn't that why you don't snitch?
I have no regrets.
Why'd they cut you off? Yeah, that's the end of it. I have no regrets, except that fucker. Anyways, so you're watching Hal Sparks Mega Worldwide. This seems to be the running theory about this, like the whole Durham report, is that he's now the bad guy.